Hi guys. Alright, here we are on week 2. We're doing 2-point perspective. Couple things to remember. 2-point perspective has 2 vanishing points instead of 1. And we start with an edge, which I will demonstrate when we do the worksheets. Every worksheet is included on this video, so feel free to pause, slow down, stop, go back, whatever you need. If you have questions, you can email them. Email me at ruth.nielsen@hpstigers.org, or you can email Ms. Schlickman, shelby.schlickman@hpstigers.org. You can also post questions on Google Classroom. Feel free to email us pictures of your worksheets if something's not going right. Just let us know if you need anything, and I hope you stay healthy and hope to see you real soon. Bye. 2-point perspective boxes. First, we need to establish our horizon. I'm going to use a ruler here, measure up from the bottom, and I'm just deciding where I want the horizon. You don't have to put it in a specific spot. Okay, if you don't have a ruler, just find anything with a straight edge on it, a folder, a book. I'm using a piece of junk mail, and I'm just going to mark on it how far up I want my line to be. Then I'll use it to draw that horizon straight edge. Alright, now we're going to make our shapes, our boxes. So because we start with an edge or the corner of the box, we're going to draw 3 straight lines. They need to be vertical. I'm going to do a worm's eye up in the sky above the horizon. Then I'll do an eye level right on the horizon. And then I'm going to do a bird's eye view. Remember, you don't have to label your drawings, but I'm going to go ahead and label this with the word edge to remind you that 2-point perspective starts with an edge. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is put our vanishing points on either side of the page. Remember, it's 2-point perspective, so there are 2 vanishing points. And then we're going to go ahead and draw receding horizontals from the top and bottom of each of these edges that we've drawn. In 2-point perspective, every horizontal is a receding horizontal. The only true horizontal is the horizon or any line that is directly on the horizon. So every time you want to draw something that would be a horizontal line in the real world, you need to draw it leading to that vanishing point and create a receding horizontal. So we've got the top one done, then we'll do the middle one, the eye level view. And while we're doing this, I have had some people ask, can I do this on my phone or tablet, do a digital drawing for you? That's fine. As long as you're practicing 1- and 2-point perspective. If you want to do it, if you can do it on a, on an app or a drawing program, that's fine. We'll get our last set of receding horizontals. Notice that every single edge has receding horizontals running out to the left and to the right. Those are going to be the 2 sides that we can see of each of these boxes. Okay, once we have those done, we're going to decide where to truncate or shorten these boxes. That's up to you where you decide to cut them off on the edges. So we turn them into cubes instead of long prisms that lead off into the distance. Remember to erase any lines that we don't need anymore, so we wouldn't see our horizon because that cube is in the way of it. Okay. We're going to do this bottom one here, make it a little bigger. Okay, then we have to show the top. So now we're going to run receding horizontals to the opposite corner. So my right edge runs to the left vanishing point, and my left edge runs to the right vanishing point. Okay, so you can see, and then where they intersect each other, anything beyond that we erase. Oops. And then we'll do the same with the top cube, where we decide where we want those back edges. And then we connect them to the vanishing point with a receding horizontal leading off in the opposite direction. So from the right, we'll go left, and from the left one, we go off to the right. So they crisscross. And then again, we can erase any receding horizontals we don't need. And then you've got 3 boxes in 2-point perspective. Okay, dice in 2-point perspective. It's going to start out the same as doing boxes. So we'll establish our horizon. Our vanishing points are going to end up being on either side of this horizon. Nice straight line. Okay. And then we're going to do our edges of our 2 dice, and you can decide where to put them. I decided I'm going to put mine one a little lower than the other, so I can play a little bit with diminishing size, use some of those spatial devices that make a space look more dimensional, like there's actual depth to it. So I'm going to make my second die a little higher, closer to the horizon, which means it's going to be smaller because it's farther away from me. All right, now I'm going to do my receding horizontals. And I just wrote the dimensions that I used for the dice for you. You don't have to label your dimensions. Okay, and remember we have the receding horizontals going off every the top and bottom of both of the edges. Every horizontal is a receding horizontal in 2-point perspective. And I am doing my receding horizontal all the way, even though it goes through the other object. I'll just erase later, but I kind of want you to see. If I were going to keep these full size, anywhere where that right edge of the bottom shape is overlapping the top one, I'd have to erase the top one. but I'm going to make these dice smaller so that won't be happening. Okay, so I'm finding my edge. Then I'm going to choose where to put my left edge. And then remember, my receding horizontals are going to run off in the opposite direction to create the side pieces here, or the top and the bottom pieces. Then I'll erase what I'm not using. And I'll do the same with the one that's farther away. I'll decide where to put my edge. And then I'm going to do receding horizontals from the left and right top of those edges. So you can kind of see, you're not going to see as much of the top of the one that's closer to the horizon because it's closer to being an eye level view rather than a bird's eye view. It's also going to be a smaller piece because it's farther away. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my dots in. Little trivia for you. Dice, the dots on opposite sides will add up to 7 every time. So if I have a 5 showing, there will be a 2 on the other side that I don't see. So the 3, there'd be a 4 not showing. The 2 would have a 5 on its opposite side. The 1 would have a 6 on its opposite side. All right, 2-point perspective letters. This is E. I already have my horizon drawn and my vanishing points. I'm going to go ahead and decide where to put that center, the edge of the E. And I'm going to put it so part of it is above and part of it is below the horizon. And draw my receding horizontals off either direction. Right, and then I'm going to choose where to put my back edges. Okay, and on the right over here, I'm going to choose where to put my edge, but I'm going to draw 3 small lines. I'm going to try and make them relatively similar. And those will be the edges of my E. And then I will draw receding horizontals from the vanishing point, intersecting those 3 short lines. Remember, they're going to be at the top and the bottom of those lines. And I'm making my receding horizontals go almost to the center of the E. Then I'm going to decide where to put that another vertical line. And this is going to join up erase all the lines I don't need. So I've got the E drawn. And then I just have to do the insides of the E where they would lead off to the vanishing point. So from the top corner of that bottom little line and the bottom corner of the top little line. We don't see the receding horizontal from the center piece because it's right on the horizon, so we don't see that. And there we have the letter E. Alright, with the letter M, I've got my horizon and my vanishing points. I'm going to go ahead and decide where to put that center edge, that front corner. I'm going to put it where it's partly above and partly below the horizon. And again, draw my receding horizontals off to the right and off to the left from the top and the bottom. Okay, and for the left side of the M, we just have to decide where we want to put the vertical line, how wide we want that, how much depth we want on that. And then for this side, I'm going to kind of do some measuring. I'm going to do my first short line, leave a space, and then my next one, I'm doing about 1/2 inch lines. And then from the bottom, I'll measure the same. A 1/2 inch line, a space, and then another 1/2 inch line. After I do that, I'm going to establish my verticals. Just doing a light line that runs from the top to the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my center diagonals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler to figure out where the center is. Run down to that horizon. I'm going to do something similar on this side where I figure out my center by doing X's in the space and just darkening the top part of that X. Now all I need to do, I'll erase the lines I'm not using, and then I'm going to make sure I draw the inside of that M by going from that corner, creating receding horizontal. Alright, this is a 2-point perspective building, or a set of buildings, and I already have my horizon and my vanishing points. So my next step is to start with that front edge of the front building. I'll create a vertical line. And then I'll run my receding horizontals back to the vanishing points from the top and bottom of the line. Alright, I'm going to create my vertical over here on the left. And I noticed that the building on the left is a little taller, so I'm going to add a little to the vertical. I'm going to go ahead and create my vertical on the right. And I'm running my receding horizontal from the top edge of the second building, and then my receding horizontal from the top of the first building. This is when it gets a little bit more complicated. Okay, so there's my first building. And then to find the top edge of the second building, I'm going to go up a little higher there. Okay, and then I have to decide where to put the vertical for that second building. Is it going to be as wide or wider? Because they aren't necessarily stacked perfectly in order with each other. If you walk through a city, not every building is the exact same height and the exact same width. So you kind of have to modify your drawing to match up. Okay, my second building on the right is the same height as my first building. I choose width. So it's a little smaller building. And then I'm going to put an even taller building back behind here. And my receding horizontals from either side. I'm going to go ahead and choose how far back my buildings go on the left side here. Just remember, every horizontal is a receding horizontal. Erase all the erase all the unnecessary lines, leave the important ones. Okay, we're going to do the right side of this building. And then we'll go ahead and add in some details once we have all the excess lines erased. Alright, I'm starting on 2-point perspective house. I've already drawn my horizon. Vanishing points are on the edges. There's my edge for the front corner of the house. So I'll do my receding horizontals. Remember, every horizontal is a receding horizontal. I cannot say that enough times. Every horizontal is a receding horizontal in 2-point perspective. So the top and bottom edge of the house. Going to be receding horizontals. And I have to decide how large I want the house. So I'll draw my verticals for the back corner on either side, the back right corner there, the back left corner over here, okay, and then I need to find the center of my right wall because that's where I'm going to put the peak of my roof. So I've got to find the center by drawing an X from corner to corner, and then a vertical line straight up, and I can make it as high or as low as I want, the peak on the roof. So I can kind of decide I could go way up or just a little bit. Just have to make sure it's a vertical line. And I'm going to go up as high as I want it. Okay. You can choose how high you want it to be, if it's a very low roof or a very, very high pointy roof. Then we're going to do diagonal lines leading from the peak down to the edge, to the corners of the house. Okay. And then for the top part of the roof, I'm going to do a receding horizontal, because every horizontal is a receding horizontal. And I could get really complicated finding that back roof, but I'm just gonna slide my ruler so I get the same angle and go with that. And darken that line because my pencil didn't fully draw what I needed. And again. Okay. Darken the rooftop. Okay. Now I'm going to erase the unnecessary lines. I'm going to keep this center line for a little bit so I can decide where to put the door. If you want a door in the very center of your wall, keep that X. And then draw your verticals. And do your receding horizontal. I could do a window up there, but I don't think I'm going to. But I will do a window on the left wall. And start with my receding horizontals on this one to decide just how tall my window is. So a receding horizontal for the bottom of it, and one for the top of it, and then I'll choose where to put my verticals. And you can get much more complicated than this, but we're just going to do one window. And there we have a house with a window. Alright, this last worksheet is a room in 2-point perspective. Obviously, I'm going to start with my horizon and my vanishing points. Then I'll draw my receding horizontals and add the details. Rather than walking through the instructions as I go, I'm just going to let the music play and let you watch. Hopefully what you learned on the other worksheets you can apply to this one. So good luck with this one. And like I said, email if you have any questions. Send in pictures if you want to. We're happy to look at your work and give you feedback on it. 2-point perspective can sometimes be harder than 1 point. So please feel free if you have questions to ask. All right, that is your room. We're adding the mullions here. And you can stop after that step if you want to. Or, if you like, you can add a little more detail, jazz it up a little bit by adding flooring. So once I'm done here with the window, I'll go ahead and demonstrate how to add. You can either do wood slats or turn it into tile.